Hey folks, it's Tom Moore with Remax Nova here in Halifax. Today we're coming to you from beautiful Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, right across the harbor from Halifax. And today the video is about the pros and cons of living in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. So let's hop to it. Let's get started with the cons. Con number one would be kind of the stigma around Dartmouth. For a long time, people saw Dartmouth as Halifax's kind of little brother, if you will. And Dartmouth has really begun to change over the last several years, 10 years even. But there are still certain areas that one may consider to be a little bit rougher. However, Dartmouth is a huge area and its own, little city. So there's really going to be a lot of options for you depending on what it is you're looking for in the neighborhood that you're looking for as well. Con number two is going to be right behind me here, the bridges. Now, what does that mean for you as somebody who might be living in Dartmouth? Well, you're gonna have to pay a toll to get across the bridge. It's $1 each way if you have what's called the MAC pass, or kind of the local, speed pass, and $1.25 if you're paying cash or each way. So this might add up to, depending on how many times you're going across the bridge each day, maybe it's twice a day, that's $2 a day. But at the end of the day, it's going to complicate your commute a little bit more. Also, during certain days like today, even, the bridge is closed for routine maintenance. It's a Saturday, so it doesn't happen very often, but the only other reason it might be closed is if you have, say, a pretty significant weather event, really blowing winds, or a storm of some sort. But at the end of the day, if that's a factor, there's always the ferry, and really we don't have too many days where the bridges are actually closed. All right, con number three. We're actually out front of the beautiful King's Wharf Towers, which has awesome views over into Halifax on the Dartmouth side. But con number three is going to be the transit. So Halifax transit as a whole isn't that great, right? I think it's like a lot of Canadian cities where it can be a little bit unreliable, maybe delayed, something like that. So if you're going to live in Dartmouth and you want to get the maximum out of the city, you're probably going to want to get a car. And this is just to get to some of those more out of the way locations, particularly the outdoor activities. So if you're going to the beach, maybe the woods, Shuby Park, something along those lines. Dartmouth has a lot of that really good stuff. And if you want to access it quickly on your own time schedule, then having a car is going to be handy. If you don't though, obviously, if you work in the city, you can take one of the two ferries that goes over there, or you can hop on Metro Transit, which does have regular schedules that run into the city and throughout the rest of Dartmouth, and the HRM as well. So that's con number three. All right, folks, I hope you're enjoying this content so far. If you are, then be sure to subscribe, leave a like, and comment if you're from Dartmouth or from Halifax or anywhere in that region. You have something to add to this list that maybe I haven't. Doing all that stuff is going to really help me reach other people that are interested in moving to Halifax or already live in Halifax. So I really appreciate that. All right, let's get into the pros. Okay, pro number one, Dartmouth is a really up and coming kind of hip city. I spent a little bit of time out in Vancouver many years ago, and I kind of compare it to North Van, although obviously not on that scale. But because you're kind of across the harbor, the price points tend to be a little bit cheaper. It's still got this kind of cool, quirky, artsy vibe with a lot of, craft breweries, things like that, smaller scale businesses and whatnot. So it is really its own little micro city within the greater Halifax area. So yeah, I would say that Dartmouth is definitely on the rise. It's got that hip vibe, and it's just a place for people to kind of feel a part of a different type of community. All right, so pro number two, Dartmouth is a beautiful city. It's also known as the City of Lakes, and right behind me is actually Lake Bannock, which consistently cranks out top-class, world-class canoe paddlers and kayakers. So in the summer in particular, you're going to have no shortage of freshwater lakes to swim at, but you're also very close to the beaches. The beaches being kind of out the back of Dartmouth, up the eastern shore, lots of surf beach, sand beach, all that stuff within about 15, maybe a 20-minute drive. Other than that, there's good biking lanes throughout the city, and you do have a ton of green spaces like the Dartmouth Commons, which is this beautiful kind of multi-acre garden that looks out over the harbor into Halifax. So there's just a lot of outdoor options in Dartmouth, and that's our second pro. All right, so pro number 3 is gonna be the quick commute. As you can see, Halifax is right there, and you can get over to Halifax by one of the 2 bridges or one of the 2 ferries. You've also got Burnside Industrial Park on this side of the harbor, which is where there's quite a lot of employment in the industrial sector. So there can be warehouses over there. There's all kinds of companies, and that is actually directly adjacent to Dartmouth. So Dartmouth is going to be one of your areas in the greater Halifax region that is going to have one of the quickest commute. And again, depending on where you are in Dartmouth, it's probably no more than a 10-minute drive to downtown Halifax. Okay, pro number 4 is going to be the shopping. So Dartmouth, as I said before, has really kind of been growing over the last many years. And one of the things that's kind of brought with it is the growth of this area called Dartmouth Crossing, which has shops such as IKEA, Costco, Bass Pro Shops, quite big box stores. And then you've also got Micmac Mall, which has other kind of big box stores like H&M and those sort of clothing stores. And then you've got the downtown Dartmouth core, which has really seen a growth in small scale shops and businesses over the last while too. So overall, Dartmouth packs a punch above its weight when it comes to shopping. So that's another thing you can look forward to having here in this city. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this video on the pros and cons of Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, located right across from Halifax. It's basically its sister city. Once again, I'm Tom Moore. I work with RE/MAX Nova here in Halifax. If you have any questions about maybe making the move out here to Halifax or the surrounding areas, or if you're interested in living in Halifax, then feel free to reach out to me. We'll see you in the next video. Have a great week.